All right, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Crypto Wolf back again. I know it's been a minute, but I've been trying to do a little bit of work here on this new series we're about to start right now. Coming back to some TradingView tutorials, if you will. And we're going to be getting into the PineScript. If you don't know what it is, I'm going to break it down. This is just going to be a little bit of an intro for this video. And so let's get into it real quick. And you can see over here, just wanted to point this out real quick if anybody's watching in the meantime. Ethereum, we were pumping all day, same with Bitcoin, and then we started doing this little consolidation, starting to curve back down. And if you look over here on Market Cipher, you can see on the RSIs, we were getting a gigantic split as it came down. And we're starting to come back up. We do indeed have, let me zoom this in for you a little bit, some bullish divergence over here on the VWAP. So we'll see what comes of that. We're kind of clipping the bottom on the momentum wave. Now we are coming down on the money flow, so I'm not necessarily expecting a whole lot, but we try to eke out a little scalp right there. We'll see what happens. It's almost a test of a theory here more than anything, but over to the PineScript. So if you don't know what it is from any previous videos, or if you're just coming new because you found this video, PineScript is the programming language that was created by TradingView, used within TradingView to make indicators and strategies and all that good stuff. Now, it is surprisingly actually a pretty dynamic and intuitive programming language. I do have some background in programming as well. Mainly C#, but I've done everything VB.NET, JavaScript, C++, all that good stuff, going all the way back to when I was a little kid with QBasic. And so if you don't have a programming background, it's not that bad. It really isn't. It's fairly simple. Particularly, it all generally kind of revolves around, the charts and indicator things. So if you're not familiar with technical analysis of any kind, might be a little bit tougher, because like even here, just going through some of the initial tutorials, I brought this one up. It was like the second one when you're going through the tutorials on TradingView itself. And this one, you're basically just creating a MACD oscillator. And I'll break this down a little bit real quick before I show you what that looks like. But so you're going to have like down here is your actual code. This is your editor, or you can use like an offsite editor on your computer, whatever you want to do. But it's easy on here because if you hover over things, it gives you these awesome tool tips that break it down for you, shows you the syntax, gives you a little definition, and you could do like the control click or, control Mac on the keyboard if you want to know more, and it'll bring up a whole separate page. So that's really cool. It does have the autocomplete feature. If you're over here and you're typing something, like even with the little brackets, it'll give you the second one, or oh, it's not doing the color for me. I thought I read. Oh well. But you get the point. It'll just like on your phone, it'll do an autocomplete, and you can just skip to the end of it, or you can just type it right there as it shows it, because sometimes it's harder to break the flow you got going on the keyboard than it is to actually go through and pick your hand up and accept the autocomplete. But so the way it's starting out on the program over here is you have these little dashes which delineates a comment, but at the top of it you want to have your version number, because there are multiple versions or iterations of PineScript. Right now we're on version 5. I know a lot of tutorials are on 4, which I ran into the first time I started looking into it, and I was wondering why the hell it wouldn't work anymore. So definitely want to keep an eye on that if you go digging into this yourself. And then the first thing you're going to need at the top of a program is this, indicator method or function or whatever you want to call it. They don't really call it that in the tutorials, but that's basically what it is. And so that in this case, it's going to be an indicator. And then here's going to be your title. As you can see, title showed up here. When you go and put it on the chart, that's what shows up there. And then if you're familiar with, other indicators, how you have all of these little styles, and then over here on your inputs where you can, add in different values and variables, or say you want to change, you know, the moving average, how far it's looking back, things like that. So that's going to be your input right there. And it gives you, I can't move the mouse or it'll get rid of it, but you know, it shows you all the various different syntaxes for inputs depending on what you are doing. If you look over to the right of like the yellow text right there, it shows you all the different variable types. You know, you have a Boolean operator, which is just true, false, color, integer, float, string, which is text, and series. I'm not going to get into the series thing in this video because in PineScript, it's a pretty damn important concept, the way it does it, because you're working in a chart and everything is working backward from the current candle. And so the way it stores the values of these candles is in what they call like a time series. And say you were to say, you know, you want the close, and if you put brackets around it and you say close 10, it's going to go back 10 candles from the current one. But, you know, you're going to want to know the basics of technical analysis. You want to know open, close, high, low, all that good stuff, moving averages. And as long as you generally know that little bit, it kind of gets you started and you can figure it out from there. In this case, again, we're doing this, you know, 2 oscillators. It's just going to be 2 little lines. And I'll show you when you first go to start, you know, if you do a open, you can do create new indicator, strategy. Library is just, say you want to have certain scripts that want to be pulled from like a larger indicator. Say like, okay, you know, you figured out a way of doing a certain moving average or something or whatever it might be. And in, you know, various indicators that you're creating or strategies that you're creating, you can go and have it reference that rather than having to retype it every single time. And that's basically what a library is. But you know, you go to open, you create a new, in this case, you know, typed all this good stuff in here, and you know, you could save it. It gives you version numbers or revision numbers. So, you know, say you change a bunch of stuff and oh my gosh, you effed it all up and now it's not working anymore. You could go back and, you know, refresh to a previous version, which is very nice on their part because any kind of programming, super helpful. And then add to chart is going to literally add it to chart. See, there we go. There's our little MACD oscillator that we created here. Yeah, nothing too fancy, but it's like the most basic little example or tutorial that is in there, and I will get into that one in the next video a little bit more. But again, just doing like a little intro right here. And then publish script is, say you got something that is the bee's knees, absolutely awesome, you think the world is gonna love this, I bestow this gift to all of you fellow traders. You can publish it to basically, you know, the list of indicators or strategies available within TradingView. And they do have like editors that'll go through and check, and if you do, you know, good work, if you label, you know, everything going on in there, you have your comments, it's nice and neat, your syntax is good, your best practices are in order and all that good stuff, you know, they might put it in like the editor's choice page, and you know, other people use it, maybe people improve on it, maybe, you know, whatever, you get some feedback. It's a nice little community. You also got your little ellipses here where you got some other stuff, you know, documentation, references, shortcuts. I originally went to this tutorials on Codify. I don't know if they have a version 5 on there yet. When I was looking on there, it was version 4, but I didn't really go digging throughout the site. I was just like, well, okay, that sucked. New window, new tab. You get the point. Say you want to alter an existing publicly available, you know, script or indicator or whatever. You can open it up and then do this make script copy. So say you zoomed everything in, now it's all crazy. You know, say you came in here, let's see, this one's probably open. You can, oh, no, okay, that one's restricted. If you go to source code on like any of these standard indicators, apparently this one is not standard, it'll show it down here, and then you just go over here, make copy or make script copy, and then it puts it into a new one, so you can sit there and make changes or alter it, and you're not actually altering, you know, the original, which I doubt you can do anyways. But just an interesting thing. So you know, if you wanted to play around with an existing one rather than starting one from scratch, that's how you do it. And then also you have, you know, your little command line output right here. And so, you know, if you go to add it to chart or whatever it might be and you're getting errors, it'll show up in red when you save it, you know, add to chart. It basically just like a little status line. And what's nice is if you do get an error and if you have a longer script, you know, you go and click on it and it'll take you to the line where that error is at. But that's generally the basics of it. It's the gist of it. You know, rename, add to favorites, find, replace within the document. Again, rename. And that is about it for now. You know, the strategy thing, basically, if you don't know what that is, you can write a script to say, you know, do trades at specific times when certain conditions are met. You know, you can write in your own little indicator and say, okay, when such and such happens, you know, go long, and you can change the values of how much you want to do that. And you can run it through their, you know, paper trading practice little broker that they have built in. And one thing that I did read that they mentioned is if you are doing the strategy tester, that it's a little bit more, what's the word, intensive on processing. So, you know, if you have a whole big crazy thing going on, you know, don't necessarily expect it to be like super instantaneous if you're doing strategy. So just a heads up on that one, although, you know, especially for an intro video here, that probably doesn't mean jack to you. But, you know, that's about it for the Pine editor. Oh, and if you wanted to find the user manual here, this PineScript version 5 user manual, tradingview.com/pine-script-docs. And I'm going to leave a link to this in the description. It's very nice. This is the time series thing. If you want to blow your brain cells out before going to bed, you know, you could read this at night. But you know, basically just start with the welcome, start with the primer, you know, go through this first steps, first indicator, next steps, and it gives you some general, you know, basic definitions of things. And then you know, after you get done with this, by then you will have made a couple real simple indicators. Matter of fact, you will have made this little MACD, and then what it'll do is it'll explicitly lay things out on the first one, and then the second one is when you add in the inputs, and then that's when you can, you know, go hit the little cogwheel up here and change the inputs on the chart itself rather than having to change it in the code. Because, you know, you got your fast input and your slow input, and these are the parameters of said input. So you got input, which is basically your method, and then 12, which is the default, like, what's the word I'm looking for here? Like how many candles it, you know, looks back to create that average. And that's your fast length, and then your slow looks back 26. So these are just the defaults. You can change them when you open up the settings on the indicator itself, and that's just the name of the setting that'll be on the pop-up. And then, so basically what the original, actually, I think I can bring it up here. Oops, okay, I saved over it. Here we go, let's go back. No, one more time. There we go. So that's like the original one that you do at the very beginning of the tutorial here. And it's just, you know, fast is a variable that's equal to 12, slow is equal to 26, fast MA is equal to ta.ema, which is basically their function for creating an exponential moving average. You know, it'll start ta dot, and then there's a bunch of different things you can do, including the MACD, which is in the next version here. And then you have parameters that go with these. So if you hover over, you can see syntax, ta.ema, source, and length. And it just tells you the whatchamacallit, the type, the float right there. And so in this case, it's going to be the close of the candle, and then fast, which grabs from up here. Slow MA, EMA, close, slow, which we defined up here. And then MACD equals fast moving average minus slow moving average. Signal equals EMA MACD, which was the result of this, going 9. So instead of using a variable like we did up here, it's just declared 9. And then it's just plot is what actually puts the lines on the chart or on the indicator. And then you just tell it what color the lines are and all that good stuff. And so you can see when you move down to the next one, you're actually using less lines because it's utilizing more of the built-in functionality, which in this case, you know, you're using the inputs, which you can change up there. And then rather than doing those two moving averages and then creating the MACD through programming, like explicitly, then in this case, you know, it actually has a function for MACD. These are the 3 things that it's coming up with, and you're basically just giving those names to be used, you know, maybe later or something. But these are the arguments that are being passed into the MACD. So it's close, fast input, slow input, 9. Rather than having it all split up, you can do it all on one line. And then again with your plot, MACD, signal, blue, orange, that's what you get. So let me know if this is something you want to learn more about. I'm going to learn more about it, so I'm going to make videos about it anyways, but I'm going to, you know, try to do some of the normal video stuff in between as well, just in case, you know, you're not into it, so you're not super bored and, you know, just not watching whatsoever, and we'll do the analysis and all that good stuff. Hey, look at that. We're up. What are we up? 1.14%. All right. Yeah, I basically started a little scalp back here. See how this little bullish divergence plays out. You know, RSI's coming back up together a little bit. So how was your guys' weekend? I know, what was it? I didn't work today. It was allergies were going ballistic and could barely even breathe through my damn nose. So actually caught up on a little bit of sleep. So apologize for not making anything over the weekend. Wasn't anything going on over the weekend anyways. Wasn't till today where we got all this nice little happy pumping action. And then, you know what? That's what I wanted to check. I heard, yep. I heard the S&P and all that was doing quite atrocious. And I'm sure everybody heard about the news with Twitter and Elon Musk. So that did have, you know what? I heard from somebody, had Dogecoin looking, ooh, look at that. At this point, I think it's safe to say Dogecoin is pretty much just like the Elon Musk Tide meme coin. Look at that. It's kind of interesting though. I mean, money flow is really not looking all that great, but it did not care. When it's going to pump, it's going to pump. Yeah, lower time frames looking a little bit better. Potential trigger wave right there. RSI still tight. RSI still tight together. I think I saw what Luna was doing pretty good. Yeah. We have 10.5%. I think Rune was doing pretty good. 16%. Oh wait, no, we did that. Yeah, Ripple, not bad. I mean, most of them did pretty good throughout the day. Ethereum Classic kind of clipped off a little earlier than some other ones. Not really. The story of the day was Bitcoin. I mean, just kept going. I mean, the percentages aren't as big, obviously, because the you know, the price valuation is so much higher, but we'll see. Could potentially eke out a little long here. It's a little tougher to tell with the VWAP over here on Bitcoin, whereas we have a little bit more definition going on Ethereum. Yeah, we'll see. I don't expect too much, but I don't plan on babysitting it either. So we'll see if we could pull a few dollars out of there before potentially going down and watching a movie. Because I don't know. Now I'm being a lazy ass because I spent the whole weekend. Well, maybe not the whole weekend on my butt, but a solid more on my butt than I usually am watching movies, playing catch up with that one. And I don't know, I'm in the mood for a good ghost movie. If you know any good ghost movies, let me know in the comments because I don't know, I just don't keep up with movies like I used to anymore, so I probably miss a lot of them. But you know, any of that I know I'm gonna get hate for this one. Any of the Paranormal Activity type stuff, any of the Conjuring, absolutely love it. I don't know why. Absolutely love it though. I think I finally just watched The Right with Anthony Hopkins about the kid who doesn't really know what he wants to do, doesn't really believe, but he goes off to this like training school at the Vatican to be an exorcist, and guy ends up sending him to Anthony Hopkins because he's like, yeah, he just doesn't really believe in anything, and it's like, all right, we're gonna send him there, and you're gonna see what's going on, you're gonna believe, and so he goes there, and it just ends up being absolute kind of craziness, and it was good. It was, you know, I almost turned it off after a little bit because like at a certain point the kid's kind of like starting to piss you off because you're like, all right, dude, like I get your skepticism, I get your disbelief and everything, but like, you know, there were certain things that happen where it's like, dude, come on, bro, like there's no other explanation at that point, come on, like keep up with the plot. But yeah, it wasn't bad though. It wasn't bad. It's definitely on my fare. I probably won't watch it again for a long time, but um what, anybody else, I'm just outside, I don't care, we're just chatting right now, but anybody else see the Bell Witch haunting? I gotta say, you know, as far as those like first person and security cam video type movies, that one was good. um those Grave Encounters movies, like, it's, you know, it's corny, it's it is corny, but man, it's pretty freaky. I'm not gonna lie. I'll still watch it. I've watched them plenty of times, but it's like one of those ones where like it's not even so much watching it that's freaky. It's just imagining yourself being in that situation, being trapped in that like asylum, and like the walls are changing on you, and you just can't get out, and just end up in that like underground tunnel, and no lights, no nothing. Just whoo, that would be interesting. Man, what else was there? What do you guys think of the last Conjuring movie? It's turning into like a damn movie review chat video at this point. But you know, obviously the first two I thought were awesome, and I've actually read the books about what's their names? Oh my god, brain fart. You know, the couple that the damn movie's about, Ed and Lorraine Warren. Yeah, actually, I think I listened to two or three of the audiobooks about them and some of their cases and stuff. And you know, like two of them were interesting. One of them was kind of a little bit repetitive and kind of corny. But you know, if you start getting into it and you're looking into the cases, honestly, I almost recommend stick with the Hollywood movies and maybe a couple of the books, but don't dig too deep, because once you start seeing like actual video of like their basement, the room that they like, you know, kept all the haunted objects and stuff like that, like the basement, just don't look. I don't want to ruin it for you, but it'll ruin it for you, because you'll be like, come on, man. Like, they made it seem so cool in the movie where they got all this stuff sitting on the shelves and Annabelle's in a little glass case and they got locks on the door and all that stuff, and priest comes by to bless it once a month, and then you see like what they had in real life, and they got all this like corny craft show fucking Halloween decorations scattered about the thing, and it's like, oh, come on, man. Like, it would have been so much scarier if it was just like the benign looking things that you like figure probably are haunted or something, but once you start throwing corny stuff in there, you just can't take it seriously anymore. So like I like I almost like the movie rendition of them better than the real. But I guess that makes sense. But yeah, dude, that third movie, I don't know. It's not bad and it's decently well made, but I don't think James Wan was directing anymore, and he's the one who really made the first two what they were. 'Cause, I mean, that was, you know, some solid directing right there. And then the Annabelle movies aren't bad. I'll give it that. I'm not big on the whole doll thing. I, I don't know. The doll thing's just, I struggle. I grew up on Child's Play and having Chucky running around giggling and stuff. So seeing the doll, I'm just like, I don't know. It doesn't have the same effect. But at the same time, they're well made movies. So I'll give it that. But what do you guys think? Tell me what kind of horror movies you like. Tell me which ones are good. I need some new material here. I need something new to watch. Hopefully somebody's got some good. I love the found footage, first person, all that stuff. I love it because it's just, even if it's, it's not real. It's a movie somebody made, but it just has that realistic feeling to it, as opposed to the big productions with the nice camera angles and filters and all that good stuff, which I like too. But sometimes you want to pretend it's real. But all right, that's where we're at. Just, and showing you on the 1 hour, had our nice big pump today, starting to turn down a little bit, but where in the hell's my thing here? We are kind of bouncing a little, having a little bounce back up. We'll see what happens. Money flow heading back down, but I expect it to continue, this trip to the upside here. And VWAP again down, starting to pull sideways, a little bit of upward angle. Come back over here on the 4 hour. It's tough to say with the money flow. With this big pump, I'd say, like, I'm leaning towards wanting it to go up, even though it doesn't necessarily look, aside from just this little bit of going up right here. We'll see what happens. It could just be another bump on the road down, but hoping it's going up. RSIs are headed up and they're tight together, strong. We shall see. It's almost kind of tough to even make a call on that one right now, because momentum wave is decently pointing upward. So that means we got to go up higher to take a look here. Money flow is kind of heading up a little bit more clearly, but we are starting to get this split action on the RSIs. Well, we've been getting it, but we can see it more now. It was kind of just starting the last time we looked at it. It had some nice bullish divergence right there. Again, so reminder on that guy. If you saw me talk about it, RSIs, that was terrible. Getting closer together, which is good. VWAP crossed up, greened up, momentum starting to head up. Hopefully this is just a bump in the money flow. If so, it could be looking pretty decent, but we shall have to see. Overall, we're still trending down on the RSI, and overall still kind of looking down on the money flow. So it's one of those things where it's going to have to prove different before we really do a 180 flip on the macro direction. But hopefully it will. Worst case scenario, we could have another situation like this where could pull all the way up there, could pull all the way up here. Round and round it goes. Where it stops, nobody knows. All right. I'm cutting it at that. I already talked for a minute. Again, let me know what you think about the PineScript. Did I say PineView? With the PineScript editor and code, and if that interests you, if there's something that you have in mind that you've maybe been wanting to make an indicator about, or alter an existing indicator, let me know. We could look at that too as well. And remember, keep being a badass. Stay free, stay happy. Life's too short. Keep doing something every single day to better yourself. Even if you're just, you know, knocking out a few push-ups or something. Do something. Come on. Do something. Do some reading. Do some audiobook listening. Wow, that mouse really started moving fast. What's up with that? Kind of freaky. What? Why did that just... All of a sudden I got Lightning McQueen mouse? Weird. All right. Later.